Okay, 6th grade, lesson 7. This is on lines, segments, and rays, and then we're also going to learn about linear measure. Okay, so here's what I need you to do, is we're going to draw just a plain old line on the board. Okay? Now, if I was just to say, this is a line, you'd be like, well, yeah, duh. Okay? But when we're talking about lines in math, they're seen as different. Okay? This would be considered a line in math because a line shows that it keeps going on and on and on and on forever on this side. That's what the arrow's for. And it keeps going this way, and that's what that arrow's for. Okay? There's also something called a segment, which is, let's just say I took a portion of this line from here to here, and I erased it, and I only wanted a portion of it. That is called a segment of the line. Got it? Mm-hmm. Okay? And then there's something called, let's say I had my line back up here, but I wanted it to have an ending point on this side. Do you see this?
Yes.
I want it to have an ending point over here. But I want it to keep going on this side. Do you know what that's called?
Ray.
Ray. Very good. And the way I remember that is, I think we taught you this last year. Okay? Think of a stingray. Okay? He's got a point on his bottom, and then it shoots out his stinger. Okay? See how that works? And this, how I remember this one, is that it has stoppers. S for stoppers, S for segment. That's how I remember everything. Okay?
Okay.
And so those are just a quick review of that. Now, we're going to talk about linear measure. Okay? Now, because you grow up in the United States of America, there is something called the U.S. customary system. Okay? Now, while we use the U.S. customary system, which are things like inches, miles, let's think of a few more, feet, how many feet something is, how many yards something is, okay? So we use inches, miles, feet, yards, and those are ordinary language that you're used to hearing. Mm-hmm. Everybody else in the world, they use the metric system. Okay? And in the metric system, it's actually quite easier because everything correlates with one another. What I mean by that is that there is a meter, then there is a kilometer, then there is a centimeter or a millimeter, and everything converts from one to another. You see that? Mm-hmm. So instead of saying inches, feet, yard, miles, all that, everything's in meters. Centimeter, millimeter, meter, kilometer, and there's actually a decimeter, okay, and a hectometer, okay, which we don't talk a whole lot about, okay, but there still is, and then there's even a decimeter, okay, decimeter. All right, so those are just a quick review, all right, of what we use is the U.S. customary, and what everybody else uses is the metric system. Now, I want you to get a ruler. I'll grab it for you. Okay? And you just hold that.
Okay.
What do you notice one side of the ruler has on it?
It has inches.
Okay, and turn it around, and what does the other side have? Flip it around. There you go. What does it have?
Millimeters and centimeters.
Okay, I don't know if you can see that. No, not really. But up here, there is millimeters and centimeters. Okay, and then if I flip it, I have inches right here. Okay, so just look at your ruler and you'll be able to tell. All right, we're going to be doing a few things with our ruler. Okay, again, this is the U.S. customary system of how we measure small things because it can't measure really big things like this house or anything like that. And then this side is what everybody else in the world uses, centimeters, millimeters, is what everybody else uses to measure small objects, lines. Okay? So, I want to show you something on the board. Okay, and I'm going to try to draw it using this. Okay? But this is an inch. You see that?
Yep.
That is an inch. And you probably can't see it real well, but I'm just wanting to show you something. So I'm going to draw something on the board. This line is 4 inches long. Okay? This is 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay? And those are actually inches that I have up there. Okay? So this would be inches. Alright? Now, there's also, if I put a mark halfway, and they usually make it smaller, in between those are the half marks. So, if I put a dot right here and I asked you how long it was from here to here, what would you tell me?
An inch.
From here to here is an inch.
Oh, that'd be an inch and a half.
Right. Okay, so these little bitty marks are all half points in between every inch. You see that?
Mm-hmm.
So this would be an inch and then half. An inch and a half. And that's how you would say 1.5 inches. Okay? But, and this is going to be really hard to see, but I'm going to try to do my best, and I'm going to use red to show you these ones. Do you see in between every half inch? I'm going to put a red dot. See that?
Whoa.
And this is a half, so I'm going to put a dash. This is a half, I'm going to put a dash in between that. Half, dash, half, dash, half, dash, half, dash. See what I've done?
Yep.
So every inch has how many jumps? Can you tell me?
Uh-huh.
Every inch has how many jumps?
Like the small ones? Oh,
1,
counting those?
2, 3, 4. Okay? And what does the middle one mean? Half. So this is a fourth, right? Or if I went 1, 2, 3, that would be 3/4. You get that? Because I have 4 ticks or 4 jumps from this side to the other side of the inch. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay, so as you look at this inch ruler, there's more than 4. There's actually 16. That's to get really detailed on how long the line is for people that build things or something like that. Because if you don't have the exact measurement, then everything else gets all messed up. Okay? So you need exact measurement when you're measuring things. So that's why the inch ruler is created really with 16 of these dashes. Okay? But look at the longer ones. Do you see the longer ones? Look at inch 1. Do you see the longer ones?
Yeah.
There should be about 4 longer ones.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And the really long one is in the middle, which means half. You see how they did that?
Yeah.
That's just to help you as you're looking at it to quickly notice that the longer one is the half mark on each of them. And the sort of longer ones are the fourth marks. See that? And the really little bitty ones are eighth marks, and the really, really little ones are 16ths. So, ruler's pretty complex, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about something real quick. Alright? Did you know I'm going to act like I have a magnifying glass, and we're going to bring it up to the board real quick. Okay? So we're going to pretend, even though this is an inch, that's an inch, okay? But so that you can see really well, we're going to pretend like this is an inch.
Okay.
Okay? So we're going to pretend we have a magnifying glass, and we're looking at it close. Okay? And then I have another inch, and then I have another inch. So I have 1 inch, 2 inches, 3 inches if we are magnifying it.
Okay.
Did you know that a centimeter, okay, that 1 inch, you need to write this down, 1 inch equals approximately 1, 2.5, 2.5 centimeters. 1 inch equals approximately 2.5. So let me show you what it actually looks like on this board. This is 1 inch exactly. Okay? When I flip it around, this is 2.5. There's the half mark on the 2. 2.5 centimeters. Okay? So I am right. So I would write this little thing down right there. That's going to help us to know a few things. Okay? Now, I want you to look at this ruler, Eli, and tell me how many millimeters are in this centimeter. You can just look at it. And you at home, see how many millimeters are in 1 centimeter. The millimeters are the little bitty ticks before you get to the 1.
4.
Keep going. There's 1 right there. There's a 1 centimeter.
Oh, that's okay.
So how many ticks are there?
Counting the big one.
Counting from this and going all the way.
9.
10. Almost. You had 9 ticks probably, but there are 10 jumps. Okay? So basically what that would look like is this. Let me show you. Let's pretend again that we are magnifying something, and let's just say this is 1 centimeter. It actually has 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 jumps in it. Okay? So write down this 1 centimeter equals 10 millimeters. 1 centimeter equals 10 millimeters. Okay? So that's showing millimeters are smaller than centimeters, right? So 1 millimeter is tiny. See this? 1 jump would be 1 millimeter. You see that?
Mm-hmm.
And then 2 millimeters, 3 millimeters, 4 millimeters, 5 millimeters, 6 millimeters, 7 millimeters, 8, 9, and 10. Okay? You got it?
Yep.
So, this is a rule that you need to know as well. Alright, now, last 2 problems. So, again, we're going to expand. Alright? We're going to say that's 1 inch, and that's 2 inches. Okay? Now, I'm going to do the 4-tick thing that we were talking about earlier. So I'm going to put a halfway mark, and then I'm going to put half in between those. See what I've done? Okay, now, if I drew a line from here to here, and I asked you how long is this line, what do you want to tell me?
And the 1 is 1 centimeter?
We're doing inches?
Okay, 1 inch.
Yep.
It would be 1.5 inches.
No,
Or
inch
1.25 inches.
Very good. How can we figure that out? Well, let me tell you. The most important thing to do immediately is to figure out how many jumps there are in between 0 and 1. Okay? So there are 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, let's just check it again from 1 to 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we know that there are 4 of them in all. Okay? 4 jumps. So if we're going to this first jump, so we know it's at least 1 inch long, but it's not just 1, it's a little bit more. So it's 1 inch plus 1 tick out of 2, 3, 4. So 1 tick out of 4 ticks. You get how we did that?
Yeah.
Okay, if I put this dot here, then it would be 1 and 1, 2, 3 out of 4 ticks. See how we did that?
Yeah.
So even if I added more, let's do 8s. Now I have 8 in there. Okay, let me take off these for a minute. Okay, now this time, I'm going to put a dot right here. And help me figure out what that is, Eli. From here to here. How long is that line? We know that it's at least 1 inch.
1.33 inches.
Well, let's try. 1, 2, 3. So it's at least 1 inch, and it's 3 out of 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. See? So however many ticks there are in the middle matters.
Yeah.
You see that? So I always need to count how many ticks there are in each section to know how many parts there are. Okay? And in this one there are 8 in between 1 and 2, and 8 in between 0 and 1. Got that?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now, last thing we're going to learn. Okay? We're going to go back to centimeters. Okay, now I'm going to magnify it to help us out. 1, 2, 3. You see that? Okay, and we're going to put a 0. 0. Okay? Now, how long is this segment?
2 centimeters.
2 centimeters. It is. 2 centimeters. But if I ask you how many millimeters is that, what would you tell me?
20.
20. Okay, and how did you get that?
Because there's 10 in between each.
Very good. There are 10 of these in between each one. So if I were to count that, that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Because millimeters are smaller, right?
Yep.
Very good. So that is how you would answer that. It is 2 centimeters, but it's also 20 millimeters. Okay? That is lesson 7.